So welcome to my top 10 PS4 games of all time. Yes, I can't believe I haven't made this list before. I'm going to tackle it today. And I just want to say before I begin, this is just my personal list. I'm just having a bit of fun. I have a huge PS4 collection. I love the machine. And I went through all the games today and I was like, this has to be there. That has to be there. And I'll ask you guys, what games need to be on this list for a top 10 PS4 games of all time list? Let me know down below. So yes, there's a lot of games that nearly made the list, but you can only get so many games in a top 10. So I just want to mention some brief honorable mentions.
Hang on, Nathan!
Of course, Kingdom Hearts has to be there. Kingdom Hearts 3, an incredible game. Uncharted 4, yes, Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a crazy game. It's amazing. It didn't make the list though. And Ys 8 is a game I absolutely adore. That's right there. It's like a number 11. I swear to God.
Let's get off this island alive!
And also there is Bloodborne. Yes, the game that everybody's asking for a remake, a remaster on PS5. Everybody wants that game, and it was a great game on PS4. So we're going to start off with a banger of a game here, a game that me and my wife absolutely adore, and it came out, get this, it came out 8 years ago now. You'll be like, what? And that is for Persona 5. What a great RPG by Atlas. And yes, everybody seems to know about the Persona series, and they're like, hey, what's that Shin Megami Tensei thing? It's like, no, Shin Megami Tensei is the main series, but Persona is a beautiful offshoot of that series. And the thing I want to talk about with this game is, I love the storyline. It's very dark, it's very bleak, just like the Shin Megami Tensei series leading into Persona. And I really like some of the themes in this game, and I don't want to ruin them for anybody who hasn't played the game. I know it's been 8 years. If you haven't played it yet, you should really definitely do that. But the combat was so stylish. The whole look of the game was unbelievable at that time, and it still holds up to this day. Yes, I've talked about it before. The menu systems are unbelievable for combat, just for navigating the city, for walking around.
Got it!
And it's all about making relationships in the game, and the cast of characters is very, very memorable.
We can do this if we all work together.
And so memorable, in fact, that they brought out Persona 5, the Royal Edition here, adding more to an already amazing game. If you haven't played Persona 5, definitely give it a shot. Yes, there's a lot of padded talking at times, but overall, the storyline is very, very strong, and you'll really get sucked into these characters and the weirdness of this world and the personas.
I have high hopes of you.
Now, this next game is an amazing one. I started my journey with it on the PS4, and I finished it off on the PS5, and that was for a game that kind of came out of nowhere for me personally. I know a lot of other people might have been hyped for it. For me, I was like, oh, it looks interesting, and that is for Ghost of Tsushima. And I was like, okay, you know, samurai action back in the medieval days of Japan. That sounds fun. But I started to play it, and then I was like, oh my God, this game is great. And then I continued my adventures under the PS5 version, and the PS4 version is phenomenal. And I just gotta say, there's so much to this game. And it's so great to get into these huge standoffs with other samurais, and the blood, the gore, the over-the-top action. This game totally had me. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was playing, and it just kind of suckers you in. And the thing I've said about the game before is, no matter where you go in the game will always kind of guide you back to where you should be going in the main storyline. So you can just go south and just go on an adventure that way. And I really like that kind of open world adventure. And I gotta say, the colors in this game were just stupendous. Riding around on horseback was amazing. Just exploring the lands. I really felt like I was back there, and it really gave me an experience that really stood out on the PS4. And I gotta say that if you haven't tried Ghost of Tsushima, Give it a chance. Don't just look at it and say, oh, it's a samurai game. Cool, that sounds like a bit of fun action. No, there's a lot of varying gameplay in here, and you really get suckered in to the main story and all of the action. Now, in 2018, they released Spider-Man on the PS4, and I've got something to admit. I don't really play superhero games. I really don't. I try to kind of stay away from them. They've never really been my thing. I think they're interesting. I'm not against them, but they're not part of my main staple of games that I play. This was a big change of that. And they sent over a review copy, and I was like, okay, it's a Spider-Man game. Let's just go through the motions. I'll play it and try it all out. I was completely captivated, and it awakened something strange in me, that I'm a big Spider-Man comic book fan from the 80s. I read Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, the Todd McFarlane comics. I absolutely adore Spider-Man, but I'd never made that jump into the video game form. And this game did the comic book justice.
We're going to have so much fun!
Swinging around the city was a sight to behold, and then all of a sudden you just drop down and there's thieves stealing from a bank, and you just get in there and start kicking the crap out of them. Then all of a sudden you finish that, you're swinging back through the city to get to your main objective.
That helicopter is destroying the city.
I know.
You need to bring it down.
I know.
And I was blown away because I love going from one section of the city to another, but there's so much to do within the city. And it's a living, breathing city, and it really comes together. And I gotta say, I was blown away. I phoned up my friend Victor Lucas at the time. I was playing it, and he's really into superhero games. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, you've got to play this game. And he's like, oh, I'm away on vacation. I can't wait to get back to do it. I was trying to sell him on the game, and it would usually be the other way around. And so Spider-Man, unbelievable, and unbelievable it's 7 years ago that the game came out.
Okay, I'll keep tracking Electro.
Now, the next game is one that I was super hyped for. I did a reaction to it years ago when it was first announced, and then we finally got it on the PS4, and that was for Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Yes, they were taking our beloved game that we loved back in 1997, and they were doing a full-on 3D remake on modern consoles. Count me in, and they counted me in, and I couldn't wait to play this game, and eventually we finally got it. And I played this game, and I really adored the game. I thought it was really amazing. Yes, it holds your hand a little too much. I think Rebirth does it a lot better, but it was fun to have a different version of the original game, and nobody's taken away from the original game. You can play Final Fantasy VII Remake and just enjoy it from different perspectives from Midgar. And that's what I enjoyed about it the most, was the different perspectives from all of the different characters. Yes, it's more of an alternate route from the original Final Fantasy VII, and I appreciate that. I do. And I really enjoyed combat. It was fast, it was action. Yes, it was kind of turn-based still, but yes, unbelievable to revisit all of those amazing characters that we loved in the original game, and we got to play it in a full 3D remake. It was really something else.
Cloud!
Now we get to the big one, the game that keeps on giving, and people have been playing it since back then to now, and that is Grand Theft Auto 5. I remember marveling at the graphics at the time, going, look at the city, look at the driving around. This was an open sandbox game, the likes of which I had never seen before. Yes, it was a Grand Theft Auto game again, but we all knew what we were getting into, and there was a lot to get into. And then they did the online features with the game, which is a whole other thing that people are still playing to this day. They really did this game a lot of justice. They spent a lot of time with it. The characters, the environments, all were done so very well, and just, grabbing somebody, ripping them out of a car, and going on your adventure. That's all I liked to do back in the day, was just do that and explore the city, and there was a big city to explore here.
This is a no-fly zone. Divert your course.
And this was there for one of my games for 2018. I'm sure it was for a lot of you out there as well. And that was for God of War. And yes, I played the original God of War games. I really liked them. But what this brought to the table was something different. It wasn't just over-the-top action and graphics, which were there, by the way, and then some. There was a beautiful storyline between a father and his son, and about his son growing up, and about the father having to step up and guide his son. And me being a father now, I even look back now on that in a completely different way. I really, really do. And it even really affected my friend Rob, because he has 2 sons, and he could really relate to that story. And when I think back to that game now, yes, there was the action, yes, there was the amazing graphics, but it was that storyline I think about. I always think about the tender moments of that storyline, and taking kind of a really masculine action over the top game and giving it some heart and doing it some justice. And I really love God of War on the PS4.
Stay calm, boy.
Now I'm kind of wearing the jacket and the t-shirt for this one because it is for Resident Evil 2, the remake on PS4. Was a game changer. This game was unbelievable for anybody who played the original Resident Evil 2 back in the late 90s. That game was amazing, introducing survival horror and action. An unbelievable, incredible game taking place in Raccoon City and also in the Raccoon Police Department for the jacket I'm wearing right here. Yeah, this game was amazing. I mean, they did such a great job honoring the original, but putting it into full 3D. And a lot of times when they do that, they lose something. This, they gain something. And I enjoyed my time with this game so very, very much. In fact, I want to go and play it again because I love the music, I love the suspense, I love the action, I love the gore. Everything about this is perfect. It's a remake of a perfect game. And I gotta say, I've never even said it before, it's like a 10 out of 10 game for me. I enjoyed it that much. Have any of you played Resident Evil 2, the remake? Let me know down below. What did you think? Now this next game was one heck of a hot potato of a game. And I remember reviewing it, I remember loving it, and I remember the backlash against the game was astronomical. And hey, I'm the first person to say, if you don't like the game, that's totally great. I totally get it, I understand. But when I say I really genuinely love the game, I did. And oh my God, here we go again, The Last of Us Part 2. I know. Put down the pitchforks, please. Put down the pitchforks. This was a major controversial game before the game even came out. I'm not going to get into all of the stuff to do with it. I want to talk about why I enjoyed the game. And when I did my review of the game, people were like freaking out and all of that. And I definitely understand. It was a hot potato of a game. And you don't know this behind the scenes. They offered me the review code and I turned them down because I'm like, I cannot review this game because it's too controversial. It's crazy. One of my big friends, a big reviewer on YouTube, said, John, you've got to review it and just give your honest opinion on it. Your audience wants to know that. And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't with this one, because it's such a crazy thing.
It's up to you.
And I played it, and I've got to say, I really loved it, and I didn't love it for the reasons that people thought. If people actually go back and watch my review, the reason why I love The Last of Us Part 2 is because of the I know this is gonna sound funny. I liked it because of the over-the-top gore and the over-the-top ultra-violence of it. That's why I loved it. I know some of the storyline elements really rub people the wrong way, and I can understand that. I can. But I tell ya, the storyline really kind of got me. And I'll explain for the reasons why it did for me. It's because it was these two characters, and they were just at each other the entire game. And for me, being the player, I was just like, this is exhausting. Just stop going after each other. Just like, you just wanted to say stop. And I know a lot of other people are like, yeah, I just wanted to stop the game. I had enough of that.
You really gonna go through with this?
And I understand, but it was the over-the-top ultra-violence of it all, the bleakness of the world. That's what got me into it. That's what got me in. And the gameplay was very, very good. It really was. The graphics were unbelievable. All I'll say is The Last of Us Part 2, what a crazy one. Now let's go back into the Wayback Machine and go back to 2018 for this little game here, Red Dead Redemption 2. And this was a remarkable game. This was a real achievement in video game creation. And I remember streaming this for the Electric Playground with my friend Baruti back in the day, and we were like, look at these graphics. We couldn't even believe the first like 15, 20 minutes of the game. We're like, look at this game.
I know maybe in another 10 years this might not look as good to us, but
I don't know.
But some of the angles and
Red
how
Dead
that-
Redemption still looks good, as
you're
I
right.
say, and this is just a natural progression.
Yeah.
But what they built was a Western that you lived and could do anything that you wanted to do. It was a dream game. It really was. From the old, Westworld films from back in the day, not the new Westworld, but the old ones, to be able to live that adventure and be a cowboy in the old lawless days. They knocked it out of the park, graphic-wise, gameplay-wise. I still can't wrap my head around all of the things that you can do within this game.
Please. I'm waiting for someone interesting to turn up.
But it goes to show you what the PS4 did with games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption 2, pushing the system to the limit with an open world experience, but also getting it right with the characters and the environments. And for the final game is a game I absolutely adore. Yes, it came onto other consoles. I played on PS4 first, and that was for Dragon Quest XI. That great game. It came out all of those years ago, back in 2018. 2018 was a good year for video games, and I got to play this game and experience this game, and what a wonder, man. I mean, I played all the Dragon Quest games, but to see the visual fidelity look like this on modern consoles, I was like, look at this game. Look at this game. It was so beautiful. The characters were great. The environments were great. The horseback riding was great. I was absolutely floored, and the combat absolutely honored the original games. We brought back a lot of different monsters from the original games as well, and we also had a lot of new ones. And what a great storyline, great characters, what a great world to explore. This game gave me everything I was hoping it would for a Dragon Quest game, and I'm really looking forward to the next game. But this game really fulfilled that RPG itch, and I highly recommend it to anybody. I've talked about it so much over the years, but it's a highlight game that came out and blew me away on the PS4, and I was like, look at these graphics. I never could have imagined, in my mind when I played Dragon Quest 1 back in the day, I was always imagining what it really looked like. And it looked like, Dragon Quest 11 in my mind. That's where my imagination went, and they finally were able to match my imagination in a video game, in an RPG, and they did that with Dragon Quest 11. So guys, I will ask you, what are some games, some PS4 games that should be in this list? Let me know down below. So anyways guys, until next time.